I'm dyslexic, so I find it very, very difficult to like read things and learn things. I started working in my mum's Chinese takeaway as a dishwasher. So my parents was like, go to school, get a job. I bought a house for 85,000 and I sold it for 185,000, right? And that just really started my career in business and entrepreneurship. And that's how I was able to quit my job. So I went out and bought a brand new BMW, right? And so I drove it down around to my friend's house. First thing he gets, I go, why'd you waste your money on that? So you know what I did the next day? Took the car back, got a refund and downgraded the car so I could fit in with everybody else.
70% of lottery winners are bankrupt in 3 years because they get the money. But if you haven't felt like, hey, I'm worth it, I deserve it, I'm going to do great things with it, you'll get rid of it. Hey, so this is Marisa here with another podcast on a very important message. Your mind, your rules. Today I have an amazing guest who I deeply admire, John Lee. John Lee is a genius. He is at the leading edge of AI marketing, getting outstanding results for coaches, in fact, for all of his clients who rave about him. And I'm going to ask him today, how are you using AI clones to be successful? What's good about having an AI clone and what's not good about it? So over to you. And this is John's new book, Money Unlocked, and my book, look, they're best friends. John, tell me what you're doing that's so exciting in the field of AI.
Well, first of all, Marisa, thanks so much for having me on the show. And, you know, AI now is it's what your mind can imagine. Like, do you know when we were kids and we were thinking about, we can create this, and you had all these like images and ideas in your head. Now, at a click of a button, you can have that become a reality. Give an example. So I was just in Bahamas with my daughter, Kira, and she was like, Daddy, I want to play with like some Barbies, but can we do some AI as well? And at the time, you know, all the big Stranger Things and things were happening. So she drew a little character and then we put that character into an AI and it turned it into an animation. I used to be an animator, right? So what would normally take months to create, it created in literally 5 seconds. And then we took that and turned it into an animation. And so now she's like, Daddy, can I get a 3D printer? Then she wants to print that actual character and then sell it online as an e-commerce store. So that's going to pay for a college education. So
and how old is she?
She's 7 right now.
Wow, 7. So we know who you are. We know you're amazing, but I want to know about your life before you had this massive success. Tell me about John Lee's early life before you found the key to success and wealth, because we all want that key.
So I started working in my mum's Chinese takeaway as a dishwasher up in Manchester, or just outside of Manchester. And so my parents was like, go to school, get a job and become a doctor and a lawyer. And of course, you know, I'm not that great at academics. In fact, I'm dyslexic, so I find it very, very difficult to like read things and learn things. But what I realized was that my parents said to me, you know, if you want to make money, you have to think outside the box, right? You have to do something different. And so I started in my mom's Chinese takeaway and then went to university. And the only university I could get into was animation because I don't have to use my brain, but I can use my creativity. So I learned about TV and film. And then I worked at some of the, you know, the big games companies and you know, movie companies, special effects. So I kind of got into that. But I remember listening to a podcast and it was by this guy called Dolph DeRuse. And he said, if you want to just quit your job and not have to work, just buy one property and then sell it. And I was like, hold on a second, because I was on a £36,000 salary, not working too far from here actually. And so I thought, if I can just buy one house and then sell it. So I bought a house for 85,000 and I sold it for 185,000, right? And that just really started my career in business and entrepreneurship. And that's how I was able to quit my job. Because if you think about that, that's like 3 years worth of like income. So I didn't have to work.
But of course you had the 85,000 to buy the house. So here's something I'm picking up from you already. You see, creative people, if you're creative, if you can design, draw, animate, write, you are creative. If you're creative, you're also very suggestible. And that can be the best thing ever and the worst.
Right.
Creative person can say, hey, I'm really good at this and this is amazing. I can sell it. Or they might say, this is too easy, it's not good. It's what I call the self-destructiveness of talent. You know, I was told I would never be able to have a baby. I had cancer twice and was told I'd have to live with that forever. I got run over and was told I couldn't walk for 6 months. I actually walked in 6 weeks. And each time I got that diagnosis, I thought, no, this is my mind, my rules. I bounced back from cancer. I had a perfect baby. I recovered from being run over super fast, and I used the techniques in this book. In fact, I wrote this book while I was in plaster, having been run over, because the things that made me bounce back will make you bounce back from relationship issues, wealth issues, childhood issues, confidence issues. If you want to live your life on your terms and have love, success, health, wealth, even the body of your dreams, it's all in here. Buy it and change your life forever. So you've obviously told your mind some very interesting rules. I want to know about your rules about money, because I really want to help the audience understand that we have a relationship with money. It's actually formed before it's 7 years old. And it can be good, but it can also be terrible. So tell me about your relationship with money now, but also then.
So now I don't see money as money. Like it's literally paper or like metal. Right. So I see it as it's funny because, my friends, they play poker, and I have a friend of mine who, he plays very big. I'm talking about one chip he'll push in and it's $100,000 chip. I'm like, bro, that's like someone's year's salary. And he'll say, no, bro, this is just 1 unit. I'm like, what do you mean 1 unit? Well, if I put this 1 unit in and I get 2 units back, that's just 2 units. It's not 200,000. It's just 2 units. And so the way I look at money now, Marisa, is it's just paper, plastic, and metal. That's all, or a digital currency. Think about it. When you open your bank account, right, you see digits in there, right? But then what is the difference between that digit? It's not real money. It doesn't exist. It's just a digital currency. So what's the difference between a pound, dollar, yen, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or a Solana? It's just a digital currency. So I don't put that much emphasis on money. I mean, yes, we need money to do things, but to me, I treat it like a game. It's like a score, because I used to play a lot. I'm a gamer, so I play a lot of games. So I was want high scores.
So what you're saying, which is very interesting, is you have no fear, because everyone is scared of money. Oh my God, if I get that money, nobody will like me. If I have all that money, I won't know who my friends are. Or they have the other fear. I need to keep it. I need to hold it so tight. I can't tip. I might lose it. So we have a lot of fear about money. Fear we won't be liked if we have it. Fear we'll be judged if we don't have it. Fear of losing it. Fear of it running out. So I'm hearing about your money beliefs. So I've got an even more important question. The people you work with, what do you see coming up again and again as their limiting money beliefs?
For me, it's so easy to make money. Like I can do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Their belief is money's like really hard.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of the times they think, okay, can you make, $1 million in a year? Right? For most people, they go, yeah, maybe. Can you make $1 million in 6 months? Can you make $1 million in 30 days? Can you make $1 million in a week? Can you make $1 million in a day? So when you ask questions like that, their belief system, they go, Because for me, it's all about numbers. Everything's a numbers game. If you want to make $1 million, it's 86,666 per month. That's it, right? So if you've got that, or it's there and thereabouts. But if you can do that, then you have to break it down. Well, how much is that worth, right? And what do we need to sell? So when people say to me, how do I make $1 million? Simple. 1,000 times 1,000. That's it. So if you have something that's worth $1,000 and you have 1,000 buyers, that's $1 million. So if you break that down into like days or weeks, it's like 19 people. So then your mind has to go, how do I get 19 people? And so we always break things down and reverse engineer it. So for me, I understand the formula. I understand it's a game. It's a numbers game. But from their belief is like, well, how do I do it? Like, seems like a lot of money. Because when we were at school, it was like, if you made 100,000, then you're on top of the world, right? Now 100,000, you can't even live in a shoebox.
Of course. But you see, people have a mindset. 80% of your success in anything is down to your mindset, whether it's a relationship or a career or money. It's your mindset. And a lot of us have this feeling of, I'm not worth it. I don't deserve it, which is why 70% of lottery winners are bankrupt in 3 years, because they get the money. But if you haven't felt like, hey, I'm worth it, I deserve it, I'm going to do great things with it, you'll get rid of it. And I'm sure you know that 90% of inherited wealth is gone in 3 generations. And I've worked with many people who inherited money. And actually, they had 3 interesting things. Isolation. If you inherit $1 billion, one of my clients inherited more, now you're not like anyone else. So he was very lonely, isolated. Also, he had tremendous guilt because he didn't earn that. His father did. And he was nothing like his father. And then he had this kind of shame that he had more than everyone else. So I've seen people without money and the problems it gets, but I've recently seen people who've got money and they're isolated. They have a sense of shame. I mean, look at Christina Onassis. So much money and ended up dying. There are people, Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, people with a lot, and yet it doesn't bring them joy because they have these beliefs. Nobody likes you if you have money. When you have money, you never know who your friends are. A fool and his money are easily parted. And they say things like, look at that fat cat. Look at that rich bitch. This person is obscenely rich, disgustingly wealthy. If you use that language, even as a joke, saying money is a bad thing, and guess what? Next thing happens is you actually get rid of it. So I want you to talk about two things. This mindset of wealth next to, I don't really deserve it. I didn't earn it. I'm not worth it. And if I have it, you might not like me.
My process of money is like the more money you have, the more you can help people.
Yeah, of course.
The more money you have, the more money. Like I see it as an expansion. You know, if you have more of it, you can expand more of you.
Instead of contracting, you want to expand. Right. Absolutely.
And so for me, I see money as like a magnifier. Like if you're a generous person and you're a giving person, it just expands more of that. If you're the opposite, then the same is true. So it's almost, I see it, Marisa, as an amplifier of who you are and an accelerator. And money does change people.
Yeah, of course.
You know, sometimes I find myself, I'm sitting on first and I'm complaining. I'm like, why am I complaining?
Yeah.
You know, but these are like, you know, little things that shape your reality of what you're used to. It's a standard of living sometimes, you know.
And, you know, people have this belief it's lonely at the top. And that's not true. I went to Richard Branson's island. He's the least lonely person I've ever met in my life. And he takes everybody with him. And there are a lot of people, the Osbournes do it too. Ed Sheeran's done it. A lot of people take money with them. So if you have these beliefs, it's lonely at the top, you never know who your friends are, just attract gold diggers, write a list of all the good things you could do with money. Who would benefit? Whose kids would you put through school? What would you make the list as long as you can? Then make another list of the bad things and make sure the good things way outweighs the bad, because you've got to change your mindset. The more you can say, hey, I can do great things with wealth. Other people benefit from me having money. The more you say, well, it's not lonely at the top, it's just very crowded at the bottom. And my book tells you how to do that, how to change your relationship with money. Because when you can say, I'm worth it, and other people benefit too, you get rid of the block. And of course, people who have money, people are like, life is so unfair. Look at my uncle working all these hours in a takeaway and someone else with a lot of money. But it's all to do with the value you bring to the table. So you've got to start saying, I bring a value. I'm worth it. I have great ideas and I can monetize them, because you're here on the planet to do three things. Find your gift. Really work on excelling at this gift, improving your gift constantly, and then share your gift with the world. That's why you're here. And we can all do that, but you must decide that you are bringing value to your clients, to your customers, to the world. So let's talk about how some people bring value and other people who are very talented have this feeling that they don't bring value and they're not worth more, because it's the biggest blocker.
And that's funny. I was speaking to my EA about this actually recently. Think about all the people that have access, right? They've got access and allocation. Let me give an example. So when I was in my early 20s, you know, I wanted to make money and modify my car and have big exhaust and have a body kit on my car. So I used to work for a company called Touch Communication. And you know what they did? They sold domain names. I would call up organizations, say, hey, we have a domain name available called accountants.com. I'd call up law firms and say, we have, you know, lawyers.com. And I'd tell them we have these domain names. I said, you should buy it, because one day the internet's going to be big and these are going to be worth a lot of money. And guess what? I should be the one actually buying those instead of getting paid a commission so I can go and buy some big alloy wheels for my car. So it's the talent, but it's also the proximity as well. And I know so many people that it's almost like the more intelligent they are, the more unsuccessful, it's hard for them to become successful.
But why is that? I want to know why. Why is it the more intelligent you are, the less successful you are?
Why? Because first of all, you start overanalyzing. What if I do this happens? Or what if I try this happens? So they overthink the process and they overcomplicate the process. For me, it's just like, just do it, see what feedback you get, and then change it, tweak it, and then do it again. And I think I have a lot of people that have, they've been to Stanford, they've been to Harvard, the MIT, and they've come to my keynotes and conferences, and they're like, John, I've had people who've got MBAs, marketing degrees, and they'll come and say, John, out of all my years I've been, I was never taught that. Because there's a difference between like being street smart and being book smart. When you're street smart, like you're in it, you're doing it. Whereas when you're book smart, it's like, okay, that's how it works, but they never do it. So they never learn. So part of the process of learning and doing, like, I think people are intelligent, they're more reserved, they're more calculative, they're more, in a way, strategic, but they overthink it.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore, and as you know, and you get analysis paralysis.
And of course, that's the value you bring, because the old rules are, well, money comes from money. If you come from wealth, if you have a degree, you're going to make money. But we've seen that change so quickly. I mean, who would have thought making a little furry thing called a labubu to hang off a designer bag would make the creator $1 billion? Who would have thought a drink called Prime could make someone $1 billion? So it's the people who haven't been to Harvard, but have an idea and have the confidence to monetize it that are now really doing so well. Tell me what's going on in the mindset of someone who's creating Labubu or Prime. What is going on with it makes them think of something so clever, but that's not enough. You can think of it, but you've also got to go to step 2, which is monetizing. Someone say, I've got a great idea, it's in my drawer, I've written something amazing, but I never took it further. So what is happening to people who have that mindset of coming up with an idea and monetizing it? What do they do that's different?
So what they're able to do is pattern recognition. They're able to realize patterns and see things, behaviors, consumption, because it's almost counterintuitive. What shouldn't work does work. For example, if you go into Apple Store, right, you'll see the Apple Store, the laptops, normally are at like a 45-degree angle. So you can't quite see the screen. But when you as a consumer go in, you have to go touch the screen and then open the screen. That sheer process of touching the screen increases the sales because now you're interacting with the product, right? That shouldn't work, but it does. So if we think about what people do, like take a Labubu or even a drink, they're able to, number one, find out the patterns of people and trends and they're able to get on it fast. So I always say, like, if you want to make money, one question I always say to people is this: what do you know to be true that other people don't yet? What do you know to be true that other people don't yet? So these people who are designing these things and creating things, they can already see a trend coming. They can already see a movement coming. And how they do that? By the conversations they have with people. Because when you look at different generations, you have your baby boomers, you've got the Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, Gen Z, and now your Gen Alpha. When you look at all these different generations, they consume things differently. Like Gen Z, they hate being sold to, but they love to buy. That's a paradox.
Sure.
So then, but the people who know how to move the markets, they understand the pattern recognition. That's the first thing. Second thing is they understand what people want versus what they need. Most people, they sell people what they need versus what they want. And so they understand that process. So for example, I remember when I was running this property conference, and it was called like How to Negotiate with Motivated Sellers. And I know that's what people need. You have to have negotiation skills. So when I marketed it, no one signed up. I was like, what's going on? I started calling people. I said, why didn't you said you wanted to learn. Why are you not enrolling? Oh, John, I just want to do deals. And every conversation I have with people was deals, 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 deals. So you know what I did? I changed the title to 52 deals in 52 weeks and it sold out.
Wow, very clever.
Same event.
But the better title.
Right. So what these people are able to do is also create a wrapper around that thing. That's what Apple do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, think about how many phones we've got. They're exactly the same.
I know. I saw a different pattern recognition. I realized, because I work with a lot of clients, from someone who's working as a school teacher to a billionaire. And I realized that the billionaires do something interesting. You can inherit wealth if you're lucky. You can be like Steve Jobs and invent something. But in the middle, there's something else. Take something out there and improve it, because we know that Starbucks did not invent coffee. Dyson didn't invent a vacuum. He looked at it and thought, he watched his wife actually empty out the bag and create all the dust. And well, this is crazy. She's hoovering up dust. the bag creates dust. And he took something there and he improved it. He's the 7th richest person in the UK. And people pay $600 for a hairdryer because he took a fan, a vacuum cleaner, hand dryers, and he just improved an existing product. And Spanx did the same thing. Controlwear had been around forever, but they made it better. So did Skims. So Dyson, Lululemon took little stretchy leggings and said, we can charge $150 for these. So it's very interesting that you can actually, if you're smart, say, what's out there? How could I improve it? And I looked at therapy and thought, therapy is so out of date. Because I'd seen this pattern of clients who took a product and said, I don't have to invent anything. I can take a product, someone else can make it better. We see that with Sephora actually did the same thing. They took a beauty hall and made it standalone. I was in Dubai and I said to my husband, look at all these shops. They're all empty except for Sephora, which is mobbed because they were very clever at marketing. So I thought, well, I could do that with therapy. It's old-fashioned. It has the wrong message. Turn up every week for 4 years, you might get better. How about saying turn up once and get better straight away? So can you help people understand that they could look out at the market and see what works? Because none of this is revolutionary. It's evolutionary. Could you do something and improve it? I say to my coaches, look at the best therapist out there and study something that they're missing and do that. Look at someone like Mel Robbins. What does she do? Well, she wears normal flannel shirts. She appeals to the audience. She's very clever. Brené Brown does the same thing. Who can you see? And you can do it too. There's plenty of room for competition. So give me some advice on this ability to see a product and say, I could improve that. Don't need to design it or even patent it.
Yeah. First of all, what you're doing with RTT is really, if anyone's listening to this and they haven't taken your RTT program where they can have instant transformation, they should definitely take that. And then I love what you've been able to do with that, because the process, what you've done there is, it's not critical thinking. It's actually creative intelligence. And creative intelligence is able to see multifaceted approaches to one thing. So many years ago, I was working my mom's Chinese takeaway as a dishwasher. One thing we would do, people would call up and say, hey, I want a chicken fried rice and sweet and sour chicken and send it to my address over here. So across the road, there'd be a taxi company. They'd give us one of the radios. And then whenever someone would order, we'd say, hey, this one's going to Duke Street, right? And then the taxi driver would come in, take the food and then deliver it. What is that? UberEats.
Of course.
Right? We did UberEats like years, decades ago.
Of course.
Right? But it took someone to put it into an application. So if you look at what Uber does, so when in the past I would call a car and it's like, is it coming yet? Is it not coming yet? And I have to wait, and I get this anxiety. And Uber says, well, we'll take the same thing but take away the anxiety by putting a map there, so we know how far it is.
Yeah.
Right? That one process made them $1 billion company.
Of course.
So you got to look at what that process is. I'll give you another example. I've worked with thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs, businesses, startups. You know what I realize? They hate doing the operations. They hate doing the execution. They don't like the accounting. They don't like the marketing. They don't like the social media. They don't like the web building. They don't like the technical stuff. Don't like the funnel building. Don't like the content creation script. They don't like any of that stuff. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to build an AI to do it for them.
Amazing.
Right? So that's something that already exists. Then you look at the old agency model. I'm going to, be your, and people pay agencies like 10, 20,000 a month. And all they do is make posts for you. Well, why don't we take it a step further? Why don't I just install a marketing team into your company to do it all for you?
Of course.
So all you need to say is like, we just give you one application. You talk to it. You say, okay, John, I want a video of me sitting in the podcast, and I want you to change my hat into a blue one, right? And I want to keep everything the same. So you just send it to my team, and now I have a team, like humans in the loop, that are now executing AI. You see, people are going and talking about AI tools. Right? You need to use this tool, this tool, this tool. No. Actually, how people need to unlock money is by taking that as a solution and repackaging it as a business solution. That's how we're able to make millions of dollars doing this. We take the same thing, we repackage it and present it as something else, but still provides the outcome that they want, saves them time, saves them money.
Yeah.
Because effectively, I'm giving someone like 10 employees for like one service.
But what about people who say, well, that's all great, but AI is taking our jobs. If AI can do everything, what's going to happen to my kids? Where are they going to go? What career can they go into if AI is taking everything? I was in an airport and they had you could stick your fingers, it did an AI manicure. You can actually stick your head in a machine, it cuts your hair. It's so interesting that AI it is taking our jobs. So while we're raving about how good it is for our business, what about our kids coming up? What's the other side of AI where we say, well, what am I going to do then if AI is better than me?
Great question. Now, there are two sides to this. First of all, it's not that AI will replace the jobs. It will be the people that know how to use AI or build infrastructure around it that will. Like people now, if you look at Gen Zs, it's really hard for them to get a job because people don't want to hire someone that can do one thing.
Yeah, of course.
They want to hire people who are multifaceted. That's the first thing. Second thing is, and in the next 2 years, you'll see it happening. There'll be more jobs created by AI than that will replace. Let me give you one example.
That's very reassuring.
Right.
Tell me more.
Let me give you an example. So we're now moving into the era of robotics, right? So have you seen the robotics when they're doing dancing and flips and things like that? They're called entertainment robots, right? They're trained to do one thing and one thing only. That's all they can do, right? But other robots, for example, humanoid robots, right? And or toilet cleaning robots. So Changi Airport in Singapore now will have robots that will go around cleaning toilet because no one wants to clean a toilet, right? But the robot will clean it. You've probably seen when you go to Dubai, you see the robots that are going around the airport, cleaning the floors. You've seen that already.
In Estonia, I was really amazed at how many robots they have delivering food and delivering the post. There's no postal service. It's all done by robots. And when you're there, you see all these little round things in the street crossing the road with a flag. It's very interesting.
Right. So we think these are autonomous, right? They're not fully autonomous. Like next time you walk through one of those robots, right, you see sometimes, it's so funny, there's human operators behind it, right? So it's same with robotics.
Yeah.
So if I want to pick up this glass and I want to drink it, I have to record myself doing that action. How many actions are there that human beings perform? How many different disciplines? Right? Someone has to train the robot. So here's what's going to be happening. Here's the massive opportunity. And this is something that our company does because one of my companies is a training company, but now we are going to be robotics AI training as well. So anyone right now who doesn't have a job, you say, right, wear these gloves, wear this GoPro and train my robot.
Yeah.
Right? So when you eventually order a robot to your house, right now you got Figure AI, Magnus, all these big robotics companies. When the robot comes to your house, it needs to be installed.
Of course.
So it needs a deployment agent. That's the first thing. Second thing it needs is when your robot breaks down, who's going to fix it?
Of course.
Right? You're not going to take it to your car mechanic.
No.
You need people that know how to fix the robot. So this is a whole new generation of upskilling. Before we lived in the, industrial age. And then we moved to industrial age to the information age. Then went from the information age to now the creator AI age, which is where we are right now. Then we'll move from there to robotics and autonomous things that are done for you. So that's actually where things will be done. And actually the opportunity I see is if I have a trained robot and you can hire my robot, right? I can make money from that. So one thing I'm able to see is the opportunity and the real use case. When you buy a Tesla, right? Tesla goes home. Your Tesla's actually a robot. It's we as the human beings using a Tesla. Teslas can drive themselves.
Of course. I've been in a WeGov.
Right, in a WeGov, like a Wemo, they're everywhere. But that
was quite fun. I have to say, I really enjoyed being in a driverless taxi.
Crazy, right? But guess who had to train that?
Of course,
humans had to train the mapping. When we came here, I was like, I sent you a message, I'm going to be a little bit late. But actually, we arrived on time because the taxi... in London, they have to do this thing called a knowledge.
Yeah.
They spend 5 years driving. So there was a massive queue. So the guy went round, saved us 5 minutes, right? So you still need someone to train the robot.
Yeah, I know when I got the robot back, my husband is very messy. He's a great chef. He's very messy. And what changed my life was getting the robot back. And every night I just send it down my island kitchen and it goes around it and back again. And we don't fight anymore about when he chops stuff, there's always food all over the floor. Yeah. But I still had to train it to go down there.
But think about then, okay, if you have a Tesla now, let's say you work in a job, you drive to the office and you drive home and you finish work at 5. Now your Tesla's parked at home, right, charging. Now you can say, you know what, I want it to go and now do my taxi services. So turn it to work mode.
Of course,
Now your Tesla drives out and does all those driveless car things.
The next generation will never even take a driving test. I mean, they just won't need one. I look at my little grandson who's nearly 2. He's never going to take a driving test. Probably won't even own a car. His life is going to be so different. But here's something I want to talk to you about too. You see, the brain has rules. And one of the rules is the human brain likes what is known and familiar and does not like what is unknown and unfamiliar. So we have to work really hard, because if you've never had money, or if you had a job where you get a salary on a Friday night and it's all gone by the following Friday night because you're living sort of hand to mouth, when you get a lot of money, you just do the same. You just spend it all. We see that a lot with lottery winners, that this pattern recognition. I get money, I spend it, it's all gone. I've never been familiar with investing. So when I get a lot of money, I just do what is familiar, which is getting rid of it. And it's interesting how we can be wired to do that. So how can we make these negative money rules unfamiliar while making positive money rules familiar? Because the brain says, if that's familiar, I'm going there. If it's unfamiliar, I'm not going there, even if that's bad for us.
So the first thing is knowing how to allocate, right? And you're absolutely right. I know people who make millions of dollars and still broke.
I know.
Right? Because what happens is they make more money, they spend more, they make more, they spend more, but they haven't realized that actually true wealth is making money, keeping your lifestyle relatively the same, but your wealth increases.
Yeah.
But what they don't also realize is, okay, I want to buy that Lamborghini, I want to buy that bag of that house. Yeah. Then they'll use their own money to buy it. But the rule that everyone should be doing is turn active, this is what I'm talking about in the book, the active income that we make needs to go into something that is more a vehicle that's passive, that produces a return on investment, ROI. And the ROI producers from that then should be used to purchase the thing that you want. I'll give you an example. My hairdresser, she's been cutting my hair for the last 15 years. And I just recently had my hair cut, you can probably see. And she said to me, John, you know the book that you gave me years ago that you wrote and it's talking about all these different investment strategies? Well, my husband and I, we've been, taking her advice. She's on her 5th property now. She's a hairdresser, 5th property. It's incredible, right? Because she understands the rules. Don't use money, right? Because one thing I taught them with this concept of OPM, other people's money, right? You never use your own money to buy stuff, because it doesn't matter how much money you've got. Even if you buy property in London, like 2 million here, 3 million here, your 100 million is gone, right? Let's say if you've got that in the bank.
You have no equity.
Right, no equity. So what you want to do is leverage across that. So that's what she started to do. So she bought the first one. I said, I gave her one rule. And she said, John, if I want to make money, what can I do? All you got to do is just buy one property a year for the next 10 years. That's all you have to do, right? And so she started, saving money and, allocating money. And so what happens when you buy one, property prices currently, they go up a little bit, then you can take money out of that one, buy your next one. So this one now is being rented and your debt's being paid down. So the more debt that gets paid down, the more equity you have. So you take some equity of that, you buy another one, and then you just do the same thing. And you just keep repeating the process. That's how you build wealth, right? So when I talk about, there's a difference between being free, when you're financially free, so you can earn enough money to just make ends, just to live. Then we go to being rich, where now we've got excess money, where we can, have our luxuries in life. And then we have wealthy. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
But some people have a fear of us. I was on a train recently. I'd gone to speak for a client. I was coming home and they put me in first class. And these 2 guys got on the train and they went, oh no, this is the carriage with all the poshes. We don't want to be in here. And they didn't like it. They didn't like us. They're going, look at those rich people. I wasn't paying my train fare. And they left as fast as they could and went back to what was familiar. They wanted to be in the economy carriage with people like them, not in the first class with people like us who they didn't particularly relate to. So what you're saying is great, but what do you do when you have this unconscious fear of wealth, this belief that life changes, or say, you never see, if you're successful, you never see your kids. Something has to give. You might have a lot of money, but your relationship falls apart. You never know who your friends are. All that stuff we hear over and over again. So what do you do? You got all this great advice, but someone has an unconscious fear of wealth that's going to sabotage them. What do you do about that?
Well, they've got to look at how they respond to money, right? So it's like anything. You try something the first time. Like when I go to restaurants, my wife's like, why do you always eat the same food? right? Because first of all, I don't want to take up mind space. I just want to know what I want to eat.
You like what's familiar.
I like what's familiar, but I also want to save time. But it's not just familiar. Like, okay, I don't need to see the menu. I know what I want to eat, right? And I just want to, it's funny. I went to my friend's. He's got this like Soho house in Singapore. It's not called Soho. It's a version of that. And I went there. He owns the place. And then when he said, "Oh, John, would you like to have food?" I said, "Yeah, I want a chicken breast and I want some broccoli and you can put some gravy on the side." And he's like, "I never thought of doing that." I said, "Bro, you own this building. You own this restaurant." So sometimes, like when you do things, you just need to know what you want. That's number one. Number two is how to get over that. Your yes has to be bigger than your no. When people say, "Oh, I don't have that money," but if someone puts a gun to your loved one's head, you're going to find the money. So that's not a difference between someone who wants it or needs it. Is it urgent for them? Is it a must for them? Because that must will almost always overcome the fear. When people are backed into a corner.
Yeah, and you're talking about something I've recognized called decision fatigue, because most of my clients are successful. Like, for instance, Stephen Bartlett wears the same clothes. So does Tony Robbins. They don't wake up and think, what shall I wear? Which shirt, which jacket? Because if you spend too long making decisions about what shall I wear, which makeup, which bag, Anna Wintour has a uniform. She wears the same thing every single day. So if you want to be successful, don't waste your decisions. What shall I wear? Tony Robbins wears a white polo shirt, shorts. Stephen Bartlett wears a black T-shirt. And a lot of people who are successful, you notice they eat the same thing. They get the same food delivered. And again, Stephen Bartlett does that too, because they're aware you have a finite energy to make decisions. Do not waste it. I do the same thing. I wear a hat because I can't bother to do my hair. I don't want to spend time every day doing it. That's a decision.
That's the real secret.
It's the real secret, yeah. I have a little uniform. I tend to wear white all the time, a silk shirt, a hat. I can be out of the house in 5 minutes because I want to make important decisions. What shall I write in my book? What does my audience want? I don't want to spend time doing my hair, going through my wardrobe and then deciding what to have for breakfast and then what to have for lunch. And actually, if you're very smart, avoid decision fatigue. Don't sweat the small stuff. Make your life easy. Have a routine, have a wardrobe, have a lunch, have a dinner. Have the kind of same stuff and then keep your brain fresh.
Yes.
For the big decisions. So decision fatigue is a pattern I saw in my most successful clients. They always wore the same uniform, ate the same stuff, went to the same restaurants, didn't waste any time. I'm keeping my mind clear for the big decisions. Yes. It's a very interesting pattern to recognize.
Yeah. I mean, I like to keep things easy. I don't want to overcomplicate things.
No, me neither.
And you're right about the sweating the small stuff. Like, when you have a team of people like in your team and they're talking about things, by the time they've ended up talking about and arguing about it, you could have tried it and you could have seen if it worked or not, And so these little things are the things that actually allow you to progress further and faster, because you're right. Once that thinking is gone, I can use that thinking for something else. We know Jim Quick, and Jim was saying to me, he's like, "John, your brain is like a fuel tank,
of course,
right? And it will deplete. No matter how successful or how much energy you've got, it will deplete. And every time you make a decision on this,
you're depleting it.
It's depleting.
Which is why Charles Saatchi also wears the same clothes. He said, I've got 100 shirts, all identical, 100 jackets, and I wear the same stuff because you don't want to deplete your energy. I want to talk about something else, because if you can change the word money to energy, so let's play a little game now. I want you to think of the things you heard as a kid. Money doesn't grow on trees. I don't know where to find the money, which is so odd because I can't find the money, because you don't find money. You monetize a gift. So I want you to think of all the things. I can't find the money. Where's the money coming from? Oh, I don't know where people like us don't have money. Think of the worst thing you heard as a child. My dad used to say, "Fool and his money are easily parted." And then just switch that word money for energy. Energy doesn't grow on trees. I can't find the energy. People like us don't have energy. Good people don't have energy. Bad people have too much energy. Yeah. And when you change the word money for energy and keep doing it, you think, well, this is a silly thing. Why am I saying these things? Because your words shape your reality. You don't like your reality, go back and think, hey, what am I saying? When I was a single parent, and my little mummy, if we got money, I said, darling, we're so rich. We are rich. We are wealthy, we're abundant. We didn't have any money per se, because I had a huge mortgage and school fees, and I could do that, but I couldn't do anything else. But I never wanted her to hear me say, I can't find the money. Where's the money coming from? Oh my God, I haven't got the money. So I'd always say, darling, we're so rich. We're so wealthy. We're abundant. But I never said we have a lot of money. And she's always grown up with this belief. And she said to me once, Mummy, don't ask Daddy for money. If you go to the wall will give you money, because she saw me put money in the wall. And I loved that with her, that she had this belief it will always be there. And she said, the bank gives you money, the wall gives you money. It's very important with your children not to say, we haven't got the money. And, of course, you're in a store, they go, can I have that? Don't say, no, I haven't got the money. Say, yes, you can have that. We're going to get that for Christmas, get that for your birthday. When you've got 100 stars, we will have that. So don't say, no, I can't afford it. Say, yes, you want that little thing, you're going to have it in 6 months' time. Because you can say no in different ways, but you don't want to have your children go into scarcity, because all my clients with money problems, it's not about money. It's about scarcity. Yeah. This mindset of money, it's not about money. It's about scarcity beliefs. If I have more, you have less. If I have more, you won't like me. If I have more, I might get mugged. I might get robbed. I've had people who say to their kids, don't tell anyone at school we've got a safe. You mustn't let them know we have a safe or a panic room, because then they might rob us. Now these kids are living in a panic about wealth. And of course, their greatest fear is, well, if you have money, people come and rob you and mug you. And I've worked with children. I worked with actually a child of a very wealthy person. And they have a security guard outside their house. And a friend came for tea and went home and said to his mum, why has Billy's mummy got that? And they said, oh, someone wants to kidnap her because she's so wealthy. Now this poor kid gone back and said, oh, someone wants to kidnap your mummy. My mummy said you have those security guards. Someone wants to kidnap your mummy. Now this poor kid's having panic attacks. So it's a scarcity you have to fix. It's not about money. It's about your scarcity beliefs. Where did you get them from? Who told you that? Why do you believe it? And change it. Don't live in scarcity. A lot of people are saying, I'm going to manifest, but you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you think you're worth. And you cannot manifest with scarcity beliefs or scarcity habits. If you're keeping old food, clothes, women, old makeup, if you keep it, or you're living in scarcity, I might need that one day. That might come back into fashion. I can't really throw that out because it's a waste. But you can't manifest wealth if you have scarcity beliefs, scarcity thoughts, or even scarcity habits. So tell me about that.
Same is true for a lot of my clients, right? They go, like, they've got money in the bank and they want to hold it there, but you're hoarding. But if you don't release it, it can't replenish, it can't refill. So a lot of my habits in the past is understanding, first of all, what do we want? So it's funny, as you're saying those beliefs and changing money to energy, what I say is, the more energy you have, the more energy you can give. Of
course. The more you share, the more you get, the more you give. And that's a wonderful thing because you're passing it on.
Right. And so when I see a lot of my clients, like, they've got money, but they don't want to, for example, they don't want to spend money on advertising. Right? That's like cutting off the hands that feed you. If you don't spend money on advertising, right, you need to change the word spend to invest.
Yeah.
Right? You want to invest in advertising.
And of course, sorry to interrupt you, but when people ring up and say, how much is it? You never go, the cost is, you say, the investment is.
Yeah.
Or the fee, but don't say the price or the cost. People don't. But when you say, to have a session with me, John Lee, the investment for you today is, because when they hear investment, they're investing in myself. But when they hear the price, they go, that's too expensive.
Yeah. But also price is relative, isn't it? It's like, well, it's expensive compared to what?
Compared to the value you are bringing.
Right. For example, if I say, there's a flat in London for $1 million, or pounds, is that expensive or cheap? It's cheap.
Yeah, of course.
But if that's in like somewhere like, Burnley, where I'm from,
of course, it's
that's
all
like
relative.
Expensive.
Yeah, so it's like the burger and fries are cheap, the salad's more expensive, but you're investing in your long-term health. Your skin looks better, you live longer. So sure, you can live on junk food that's cheap, but eating badly probably takes 16 years off your life. And so it becomes very expensive to eat bad food. because it's going to cost you 16 years.
Yeah. And so these beliefs that people have, that scarcity mindset, then again, that's contraction.
Yeah.
Whereas abundance is bigger, like you start to think about it. And that's how we manifest things as well. So we set our mind to things. And it's interesting you say that we get what we think that we are worth. And that's why when you increase, I always say the inner world increases your outer world. When we are big outside, we start to see things that just flow to us. That's why we manifest things. This book deal, by the way, you know how I got this book deal with Hay House. So I was at A-Fest. I think you were there as well.
I was there. I remember you very well in Estonia last year.
Yeah, right. So I met Ken Honda there. Right? And
I love Ken. Happy money.
I love Ken. He's such an incredible. He was the one who got me this book deal.
Did he?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened. Because, 18%, everybody wants to write a book, but only a tiny percent do. And an even tinier percent get to make them successful by, again, writing a book isn't hard. When I wrote my first book, I was really surprised that, it's the marketing that's hard. It took me longer to market my book than to write it, doing signings, doing podcasts, going on shows and talking about the contents of my book. But if you want to be successful, you've got to do that.
Yeah.
So tell me how Ken got you a book deal, because I know a lot of us out here say, I want a book deal too.
Yeah. So he said, okay, well, let's fly to, so the first A-Fest I went to was Cartagena. So it was like, okay, why don't I want to go to Colombia? It's miles away. I'm not even speaking there. But, I said, just come along. One of my friends, just go. I don't know, my mind said no, but my heart said yes. And sometimes you have the gut feeling, I need to be there for some reason.
Gut feeling is so important because the gut's a second brain.
Right. So then, okay, I'll fly there. So then we do this exercise where we have to get a piece of paper, write down what we want. I put New York Times bestseller, right? And or be published by a big publisher. So we go around and then Vishen says, stop. So then we stop in front of the person. I stop in front of Ken and we switch our things and he gives me back and he has my, become a New York Times bestseller or get published by Penguin and Hay House. So at the time, I didn't realize he was actually published by Hay House. And then he sent me a video saying, I'm with Amy here. I'm talking about your book and sorry, you want to write a book and you guys should connect. And so it's funny because all those years I've been doing social media, sometimes you do social media, you don't know who's watching it. No. But her friend Helen had been following me for years on social media. So when she went back to the team and said, this John Lee guy, have you heard of? Oh my God, I've been following on social media for years. That's how we got the book deal.
Yeah.
Right? One contact, one decision. And look at how this podcast, we've been trying to do this podcast in Dubai and lots of different places.
It worked.
Our flights get cancelled and we're here and it happens for a reason. So when we're abundant, when we're not scarcity, when we want to give, when we want to support, more is filled into the cup. Because when we give, our cup is getting less and less and less, but it still needs to be refilled.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a quick exercise with you, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. As you said, there are people who can't spend, they hold it, they don't tip, like it might run out, and they keep their money because they're scared of losing it. And others give too much. They give it all away and they've got nothing left. So some people, they say, well, I'm a giver, I'm a spiritual person, I'm a therapist, and I want to give, and they don't charge enough. They do a lot for free, and they're givers. But then we have the others who are the takers, who take and don't give anything back. So let's do a little quick experiment. I want you to just breathe in and just take a breath and then give it away. The first thing you did when you arrived on the planet was take a breath and give it away. So just breathe in and out a few times, take it, give it away. But now I want you to be a giver. I want you to breathe in. I want you to give all that breath away. I want you to keep exhaling. Do not breathe in. Just give and give. You can do this for 4 minutes. I want you to be a real giver. Keep giving that breath away. Give more away. Give more. Keep exhaling, even when it feels horrible, because this is what you do as a giver. You're giving, not receiving. Keep going. We're only a minute in. Keep exhaling. And when it feels absolutely horrible and unnatural, take a breath back. But now be a taker. Breathe in and hold it. Hold it. Take everyone's air. Take it all. Be a proper taker. Take more. Take more. Hold it. Do not breathe out for 4 minutes. Keep taking. Keep going. And when it feels uncomfortable and horrible, breathe out. Because you see, this is balance. Give and receive. I receive a breath. I give one away. I give a breath where I take it back, and in your life, there is balance. I give of my talents, and I receive a great paycheck. I give and receive. I give help and you're giving me help. You're teaching me stuff today I didn't know. So if you're a giver or indeed a taker, keep doing the exercise until you think, God, I don't like just giving. I don't like just taking. Nature requires balance. And when you say, I give great value, so I can receive great value. If I give great value, I can ask for more because my value is good. You've got to really expand your value, expand and don't contract, keep expanding. Because when the brain moves to a new dimension, it doesn't go back. You know, when I first became a therapist, I charged £35 for the session and £2 for the audio cassette. So I charged £37. Last month, the client gave me £50,000 to turn up and speak for an hour. So I went from £35 to £50,000 over a period of 30 years. Because I'm always expanding, and I deserved that £50,000. I turned up, they said it was fantastic, can you come back?
Same, like, so my day rate back then, well, I was giving all my time away for free for real estate.
When you were washing dishes, what was your hourly rate?
My hourly rate was like £3.50 or something back then.
And what is it now?
So £5,000 an hour.
Of course,
you know?
Yeah.
But it took 20 years to get to that point, you know, and do you know, so it's an interesting point that you made here about taking in, giving, taking in, giving.
Yeah.
You see, every time you take in, you give, you expand,
and every time you give, you take.
Right. But every time you add value, here's what happens. You know, when a lot of people say, oh, I've got this business idea, but you need to sign an NDA. But what you're really saying is, so if you make me sign this NDA, I can't give you any ideas to expand it.
Yeah.
So that's scarcity mindset. So, for example, we were at Visions and now I was showing you some of this, you know, AI stuff.
Scraping.
Yeah, scraping.
I love the scraping.
Like,
that was
my God,
so
we can
cool.
do that.
You gave me so much last night.
I mean, we've got way more stuff, but here's the thing. Then you can take that and you go like, John, did you think about this? I go, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. So there's this exchange of give and take, but every time it's give and take and we're adding value, it expands. And so if you want to be bigger, you need to give. If you want to be bigger, you have to give bigger.
Yeah. And people say, I've got this great idea. It's a great idea. And I'm actually great for having the idea. But idea, until someone pays you, it's just an idea. It's nothing. Unless you can get your idea funded or fund it yourself, it's an idea. And we get so caught up with, this is a fantastic idea. I've got it, but I can't share it in case you steal it. It's not worth anything. It's just an idea. Yeah. You know, somebody wrote to me this week and said, hey, you stole my idea for these I'm Enough bracelets. I'm like, well, I've had these for 15 years. If you look at any of my footage, I'm always wearing the I'm Enough bracelets because that's my message. I'm enough. But I said to her, darling, I'm so sorry you think that. I wasn't upset. So I'm really sorry. I can see you being burnt. Good luck with your bracelets. And I didn't get upset because I could hear in her voice that I'm so hurt you stole my idea. And I said, but it's just an idea.
Idea's a tenner penny.
Nobody owns it. There's I'm Enough material. But instead of being upset, I had a call with her to voice and I was very nice to her and said, go on marketing your stuff and don't worry about people stealing it. You can't own an idea. Just take it further. You've just got the idea. You need a product to monetize, not an idea.
Well, you need execution as well.
Well, execution,
and the pattern recognition that we made. Facebook was not the first social media platform.
Of course it wasn't. It was MySpace.
Friendster, if you remember that. Bebo.
Friends Reunited, all those things.
They just made it better.
Well, it's like VHS and Betamax for those people who are a little older like me. It's an idea. But an idea is nothing if you don't execute. And I see that problem too. People say, I've got an idea. So to do well, you have to do three things. The first thing is you have to sit with yourself and say, I'm worth it. I deserve it over and over again until it's familiar. I'm worth it. You know, we teach when in sales, when you're asking the money, you've got to get familiar. Don't go, oh, it costs a lot. You say, the fee, the investment for this is $5,000. You've got to be familiar with your worth it. So your first thing is really work on your worth it. 80% of your success comes down to having a I'm worth it mindset. And you just got to learn to have it. And then your second thing is develop your product. But your third thing is take it to market. And people say, oh, I can't do that bit. I might get rejected. Some people just work on the third bit. Here's my product, but I don't feel worth it. And others say, I'm working on worth it, but I've never taken it to market. You know, I had a client who was an artist at Empath. She could paint, but she couldn't sell. And I said, do you want to be an artist? or a rich artist. Because if you're a rich artist, you've got to do the things you hate, which is marketing. I've taught 20,000 therapists. And a lot of them say, I can't market. But you have to market. Do you want to be a therapist or a well-known, successful therapist? You've got to market.
Well, I'll say to people, if you have something important to share,
Share it.
And you don't share it, then you're being selfish. Because what you have can impact and transform people's lives.
I said, do you think Ed Sheeran was put on the planet to be a plumber? Do you think Adele was put here to be a nail technician? No. If you are given a gift, you're supposed to share that gift with the world. Whatever your gift is. I mean, your gift is help entrepreneurs make a lot of money. My gift is writing books to help you run your own brain. But when you have a gift, you're supposed to share it. Otherwise, why have the gift?
Yeah.
Why be an amazing scientist if you don't use it? Why be a phenomenal doctor if you don't use it? So...
And it's like the richest place in the world is a graveyard. Because a lot of these beautiful ideas, they die with people.
Sure.
You know, make them come to life.
Yeah, so find your gift. And your gift lies behind what you loved between the key age of 5 and 15 or 7 and 14. But your gift lies behind and is connected to what you love. It's very hard to succeed doing what you hate. So find what you love, perfect it, work on it, and then take it to market. But while you're perfecting it, keep perfecting. I'm worth it. I deserve it. The value you are giving. And then share it with the world, because that's why you're here. Find your gift, perfect it, perfect your I'm worth it, and share it. As you say, don't go to the grave. You know, Wayne Dyer told me something so beautiful once. I had cancer at the time. And he said, do not die with your music still playing inside you.
I'm going to add something to that. Best known beats the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can be the best, you can have the best product, but that's like having a voice like
sure.
Mariah Carey, but no one's ever heard you sing before.
I know, of course.
So our gifts and the things that we do and why people listen to this podcast right now is, and why people should really read the books is not, I mean, look, honestly, like we don't, when people buy these books, authors, we don't really make anything from that, right?
No.
Like a lot of the publishers, they take a lot of that. But what this is going to do, and the reason why I wrote this book is because I once read about, a friend gave me a book, and I'm dyslexic, and I don't like reading books, but that book I read from page to page, and that's what allowed me to create my freedom. And it's a way for us to take what we have in our head to give back to the next generation so they can do good and they can be better. And then the whole consciousness of the world expands.
Have you ever put your book into Peach and had Peach read it to you?
No.
So my husband is very good at reading my books. And I came to him and said, wow, that's my book. He said, yeah. He said, I just put it into Peach. And while I'm doing stuff, it reads it. So you don't have to read. Don't even have to buy an audio book. Take your book, put it into Peach, and they read it to you. It's extraordinary.
Well, there's actually another thing you can do as well. So there is an AI actually called Notebook LM. It's amazing. So it can repurpose content. It can take the book and it can put it into what we call a cinematic video. So it turns it into like a video that, because what Gen Zs they love, they love entertainment, right? Educated entertainment.
Yeah.
So we have education, entertainment, and the mix of that is called edutainment. So that's what it can do. And then it can take that and turn it into a podcast version of the book.
Isn't that amazing?
Then it can put it into slides, and then it can put it into a picture. Then it can now create a mind map of the map as well. So it's really good, like especially if dyslexic. You know, we're able to like learn things in a much faster way because it's at our level. Yeah.
Do you think social media has made success easier or harder?
Way easier. Because why? The biggest business only needs 3 things. Number 1, it has to have a go-to-market strategy, awareness. If people don't know you exist, they can't find you. Second thing is, once they come to you, they need a way to be able to buy from you. So what social media allows you to do, the old days is have marketing, go to a page, let the page do the selling. That doesn't work anymore. You have to do the social selling. People make a decision to buy on social, then they go and purchase. Now, in the next 6 to 8 months, you won't even need a web page. Because why? A lot of the integration is being done in social media. So if I see a post, I like something, I click and it's Apple Pay from one click. The third thing that's really, really important is virality, right? It only takes one person to share that to millions of people. And now you've got what we call that network effect. So it's made it way easier than ever. How
do we go viral? All our audience, I want to go viral. What's your advice on going viral?
So easy, right? So all you need to do is open up Instagram or any social media platform and type in the word that you want to rank for. So let's say in your case, you might say, okay, how to master my mind or how to change your habits. So you type that in, and then Instagram will give you all the top 20 different posts that have already gone viral. Then what you can do, you take that post and you feed it into something like Manas, and you would give it a prompt like this. So analyze this post, give me 3 different variations of the post, and basically transcribe that entire video. So then it gives me all the bullet points so I can recreate it in my own style. So you take that script, put it into something called Claude, Claude, and then you say, rewrite this with my voice and my context. And then it'll just give you a script. Then you can take that script, put that script into something like HeyGen, or put in something like Higgsfield or Kling 3.0. And you would basically say, here's my picture, put the script on this video, render it, and then post it on social media.
Why do so many of us play safe and stay safe when we could expand?
Because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's what they're used to.
Yeah.
Because it's the fear of the unknown. You see, when we think of the fear of the unknown, 2 things happen. Either it scares you or it excites you. And when you look at when you're scared about something, it normally causes you to retreat.
Of course.
Right? So one exercise that people can do, and my friend talks about this all the time, he said, every year, John, I get rid of all my money. I said, why? Because then I figure out new ways to find it. In Chinese, we have this saying called, you got to break your boat. Right? If we're in the boat and we want to get to the island, how can we guarantee we're going to get there? I'm going to break my own boat so I have no other choice to get there.
Like the Vikings. Sure. The Vikings said, we burn our boats. The only way home is straight through, and we will succeed or die. So it's a very good analogy. Here's another question I want to ask you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start but is actually paralyzed by fear? How do we get over this paralysis, this fear of I want to do it, but? Because, of course, the brain can't hold conflicting beliefs. I talk about that here. It can't have conflicting thoughts. I want success, but. I want a promotion, but. I want to raise my prices, but. So when someone wants it, but they're paralyzed by fear, what would you say?
So if they're starting, easiest way, work to learn, not to earn. That means you need to learn the process first. That builds confidence. Because look, if you're completely lost, the first thing you need is, I need education. I need to learn. Like, I don't know AI. I need to learn AI. I myself learn to code, learn to automate. I'm learning. I don't need to, but I need to. If that makes sense. So if you're lost, education. Second thing that you need is, okay, now that I have education, I need implementation. I need execution. So if I'm lost, then I get educated. I know what to do. Now I've got to do the action steps every single day. Yeah. But if you're doing the action steps every single day, it's not working. Then it comes to the third step, consistency. Now you do the action over and over and over again. So I have this saying, if you want to be big on social media, you do the 116.
Yeah.
One topic, one platform, post every single day for 6 months. Then if you're making under $1 million, you do the 111. The 111 is one audience, you have one problem and one offer that solves the problem. So what I would say to people, don't become an entrepreneur first, become an intrapreneur first. Find someone in an organization that you admire, that you like, where you can learn on the job. It's almost like the apprenticeships in the old days, right? Which is what's happening now. And so now when you're an intrapreneur of that company, you build skills, you build confidence, you can see how things work. Then you start testing it. So in the book, I talk about having what we call our freedom number. You find your freedom number. As your side income goes up, your job income goes down. So you take less responsibility, so you have more time to work on that side hustle. And there'll come a point where that cross overlaps. That's called the financial freedom point. When we get there, then we scale exponentially from there, because now you have time to execute.
Wow. Here's another great question. Why do some people get to that point? They've got over the fear of paralysis. They've done it. And then they self-sabotage.
Well, the reason why they self-sabotage is because they think that they, again, like you said, they don't deserve it. Or by achieving this. I remember the first time when I bought and sold a property, and I made some money. So I went out and bought a brand new BMW, right? And so I drove it down around to my friend's house. And I thought it was going to be, oh, wow, that's an amazing car. First thing you get, so I go, why'd you waste your money on that? And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you just literally lost 20% VAT in driving out. Why'd you waste your money? So you know what I did the next day? Took the car back, got a refund, and downgraded the car so I could fit in with everybody else.
Isn't that funny, fitting in? What is the biggest myth people hold about becoming an entrepreneur?
Biggest myth is that they think it's hard. I mean, it is hard, but it depends how hard it is. Like, is playing a game hard? It's hard if you don't know the rules.
Yeah.
But it's easy when you know the rules, right? You know, my I went to watch a basketball game recently. Went to watch the Chicago Bulls. And you look at how they move around the court. Is it hard? Well, yeah, it's hard. But they had to learn that. So, and the reason why people think it's hard to become an entrepreneur is because they think it's risky. It's not risky if you de-risk it. You have to know what all the problems are. Like if you buy a house and you can't rent it, that's one of the risks.
Yeah.
If you buy a house and it goes down in value, that's one of the risks. If you buy a house, the interest rate goes up, that's another risk. And there are a few others, but they're the three main ones.
Yeah.
But if I can mitigate all three, I've de-risked the whole process. So how do I mitigate it from the risks of property prices crashing? In the history, it's only ever crashed like what, 15, 20%?
Sure.
So as long as I buy a property 15% below its value. So if it's worth $1 million, I'll buy it for 800,000, right? And there are properties out there that exist. I'm completing on 3 right now in London, zone 1, right? So they do exist.
Good.
Number 2, right? When I understand that if I want to mitigate interest rates, right? I just cap it. So I know exactly how much is going out for the next 5 years, right? Multiple exit strategies. If I can't rent it, can I sell it? If I can't sell it, can I option it? If I can't option it, can I auction it? So that's why education allows you to de-risk an entire process.
And let me help you out here. Never say this is hard. Say this is unfamiliar. You know, putting some silicone on your finger and shoving it in your eye is unfamiliar until you do it every day. And then it's familiar. So don't say this is hard, this is difficult. Say this is unfamiliar. But you can make anything that's unfamiliar familiar. You can make running familiar. I mean, first time I did the plank, I didn't like it too much. And then it became familiar.
It's like when I was doing flossing. I hated flossing.
Yeah.
Now it's easy.
When I have audiences, I get out a BlackBerry. So who had one of these? Who knows how to use it now? I have no idea. Because when you got the new phone, you made the old phone unfamiliar. Wow. So things are not hard. They are unfamiliar. And if you say unfamiliar, you're telling your brain, but I'm making it familiar. Success, wealth. You can make anything familiar. But don't say it's hard, because our brain wants to move away from hard. But it likes making good stuff familiar. And when you make good stuff familiar, also making bad stuff unfamiliar. What's the biggest transformation you've seen in one of your clients?
So I had a guy who came, his wife dragged him to one of my seminars, and he was 50,000 in debt, and he was doing this juicing stuff, right? So it's kind of like, use this juice to lose weight. But what he didn't realize is that the reason why his business was failing is not because he didn't have a good product. It's because people didn't know why he was doing it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Right? Famous Simon Sinek said that. So I said to him, Mark, tell me why you're doing this. And the whole reason why he started this, his dad had cancer. Doctor said he'd only have months to live. And he realized that the hospitals were giving him really junk food. And he's a nutritionist. So he's like, okay, I'm going to get this message out there. I want to create this. So he was able to change his dad's diet that extended his life for many, many years. And then he sadly passed away. So that became his message. I said, people need to know why you do this. People need to connect with you. So he started doing that. 8 years on, a big food company, and if I'd say the name, you'll know what it is, offered to buy his company for $72 million US.
Wow.
Right? But he turned it down. Turned down $72 million. This year, the company's gone public at $100 million. Right? So I look at the transformation there, and all I told him to do is I say, Mark, take out your phone, hit record, and tell people why you're doing what you do. And tell them what product you have. Tell them you have a book. Yeah, but Don, I don't have a book. Doesn't matter. Tell them you're going to write a book, right, about this product and see how many people are interested. He said, just trust the process. So he did. He had over 100 people say they want to buy the book. Actually, they actually bought the book. They actually bought it, and then he created it afterwards. So we have to create something called MVP. And what I love about Mark and his partner Shuan is that they're able to just take a process and implement it straight away because they have nothing to lose. When they're at that point, they have nothing to lose. And it's funny because he said, John, I never told you this, but when I was signing up for your consultancy, when he put his hand was shaking like this, putting his credit card in just to pay for and I didn't know at the time there was 55,000 in debt, but he told me that later. And he said, John, that's the best decision I made in my life. And so when I look at that transformation and what they're doing and the millions of people around the world they're helping in the health space, I said, Mark, you're not only just helping people's health, you're saving people's lives and extending them.
And in that, you did something very clever, because you see, as a writer, I saw something. People don't buy a book. They buy a promise. I can make you thin. I can make you rich. I can make you younger. So if you have, and what he was saying is, I can make you survive cancer. I can make you survive illness. I can make you well. So if you're writing a book or indeed you have any product, try to find a promise somewhere in the title. I can make you happy. I can make you healthy. I can make you find love I can make you married within 6 months. Mm-hmm. People love the promise.
Yeah. And that's why I call it money unlocked.
Yeah, money unlocked.
People's like, what is it about? Yeah. It's to unlock money in your life.
And the same thing, this is a promise. If you understand the rules of your mind, you can win at everything, but you got to understand these rules. So I'm going to ask you one last question. So you've been amazing. I could keep you here all day, but time is money. Rapid fire round. Money is?
The best.
And I would say money is freedom.
Okay.
You want to be free. The biggest myth about being an entrepreneur is?
It's hard.
Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's unfamiliar. Yeah. One belief everyone should adopt.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
Advice to your younger self.
It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And finally, if someone listening to this feels they're capable of more, but keep holding themselves back, what is the first rule that they must change?
The first thing they got to do is not overthink it and just do it. Get the result, fail fast to iterate to what not to do in order to be able to succeed further every single day. If they do that every day consistently, don't think about something, just do it.
Yeah.
And you'll get the feedback to tell you what to do. They'll succeed.
I used to call it JFD when I train all my therapists. JFD, just freaking do it.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's one of our trainings, JFD. Just do it. Don't wait. You know, you can train to be a great therapist, but every client you see is also your teacher. Yeah. So thank you. You've been amazing. I could talk to you all day. The value you have given today is incredible. You deserve every penny you have because you're giving and receiving. Where can we find you?
Anyone on social media, John Lee or johnlee.com and YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. If they type in John Lee, they'll be able to see a lot of my content.
You have amazing tutorials and they're all free. Buy this book, buy this book. You can have anything. You can have it all the time, but you've got to believe you're worth it and you've got to apply yourself. Thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you, John.
Thank you.